assassinated. I think that's important for us to always remember when we talk about people like Tom Mboya, that he didn't just die. He didn't just collapse from a heart attack. He was shot. And he was shot in a way that has become a bit of a trend in this country, and something that we need to always remember when we think about Tom Mboya. But let me first do the formalities which I'm supposed to say. Maureen, Susan, somewhere, Gladys, is Luki, and Tom, thank you for inviting me. I've got to know Tom Mboya II or Junior a little more because he tries to dabble in politics, which is a bit tough, as we all know, but at least he's dabbling and he's trying to move the commitment. Just a few things. I think it's important for us to always remember history and the history of Tom Mboya. And for me, the entry point that I've got understanding Tom Mboya was this book. Tom Mboya, the man Kenya wanted to forget. And I would really urge all of you, especially the younger people, please get a copy of this book. It is powerful, it's a great biography. It gives you a sense of who the man was and what he stood for, and why inevitably he had to be killed. And it just seems bad when you think about 50 years on, that at that time he had to be killed because he was going places. But when you think about it, you read about Tom Mboya, you watch clips of Tom Mboya, what always strikes you was that there are few Kenyans who have been as smart, as brilliant, as charismatic, and as focused as he was. It was just absolutely good. And today I read the column that Susan Mboya did in the Daily Nation, which was very strong, reminding us that politics for Tom Mboya was about patriotism, was about the people of this country, which is why he didn't die with billions stuffed in his house. So he had to go and change it to new shillings. He would not probably have a hard time. He didn't die with money, even though he had been a minister and a public figure all his life. He had integrity. If there's one thing we're lacking in this country, it is that integrity to say, look, I do this work for Kenyans rather than for myself. And yes, you live life, you enjoy life. It doesn't mean that when you live, you do things for Kenyans, you should be growling and hunting and begging. But you don't steal from us. You don't steal from us, because we end up poor. And I think Tom lived a life that we should all admire. That because he lived a life where he was focused. And he did fantastic. Again, just to remember that at the age of 22, he led a strike, a national strike here in Nairobi. 22. Evans, what were you doing at 22? What were you doing? What were you thinking about at 22? I know what you're thinking about at 22. And most of us young men at 22 were thinking about the same things, probably. This man was leading a strike in Nairobi, a national strike. It's unbelievable. I mean, just when you think about it in the context now, for those of us who are older in our 50s, 22. Amazing. I mean, you have to admire that spunk, that kind of drive that he had to do it. Yes, the airlift, again, is something that many Kenyans will remember him for, and I'm so happy to hear that it's going on and see that Zawadi program continues, and I hope we can continue this kind of giving back. Some of us quarrel with sessional paper number 10, and I think it's right for us to quarrel with it because it's led to some of the mistakes we have had in this country. But nevertheless, whatever our view of sessional paper number 10, it is an ideological piece of writing. It is a view that was set out. It was not a tribal viewpoint saying we'll build the superhighway first to Thika and to Nyeri before we build one to Mombasa. And you ask yourself in those days, why would we be building? Why should we build a superhighway of 6 lanes? Zile wasema, barabara za gorofa, as Jacob says, barabara za gorofa. And you're not built from Mombasa to Kisumu. How? How can this country look at ourselves and say, the most important road, is it not from Mombasa until Kisumu and then to Busia and Bungoma? That's the most important road. But instead, we spend it first to Thika. I know why it goes to Thika. Then from Thika, now it's going on to Nyeri. I can tell you, Nyeri will have a double car highway before it gets to Kisumu. I can assure you. And we've got to ask the question, why do we allow this to happen? Are there some people more Kenyan than others? And this is what was, again, brilliant for me about Tom Mboya, that he came and stood in Nairobi, in constituencies where, yes, the Kikuyu elite at the time was opposed to him and was standing up against him. But he's able to stand and communicate and reach out to people and say, this is about him.